I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 70, Wisdom from the One Who Strayed, with Elisa Fucci. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. I am here today with a guest, Elisa Fucci. She is a fellow life coach. I'm going to have her tell you about that a little bit later. But Elisa reached out to me and we had a little discussion, and I am so grateful that she's willing to be on the show today. Elisa has her own experience with infidelity, but for her, she came to me because she was willing to talk about her own experience of being the person who broke the trust in the marriage and how that came to be, how she has worked through it, how she has worked through her feelings for herself and grown and become the person that she is today through her own experience. I am so excited to have Elisa on today because I know that many of you want to understand at a deeper level what happens inside the mind of the person who is deciding to break trust in the marriage. And you know what? We also all sometimes have things that we ourselves are not particularly proud of or things that we have regret about. And I feel like Elisa can shine a really good light on that and share how she has grown and her experience. So I'm really grateful for your willingness to be here, your vulnerability, and sharing your story with us. So thank you so much for being here today, Elisa.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm so excited. I really I think, I don't know if you know, but you're like my hidden mentor. You don't know the influence and impact you've had in my life, really.
Well, thank you.
Yes, I love it. From the moment I knew what you were doing and what your goal was and how you were helping women, I was like, I want to do exactly what she's doing. Whatever she's doing, I want to do it. Keep looking over at what you're doing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. That's just given.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes,
thank you for sharing.
It.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Just general, tell us about yourself.
Okay. So I'm from Argentina and I'm the seventh of 8 kids. I was born and raised in the church, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we moved to the U.S. And lived in Utah 26 years ago, been married twice, divorced once. I have 2 kids, and I recently became a certified life coach, and I help single women help heal those broken relationships and get inner peace and closer to God. So I love that. I love what I do.
That's beautiful. I love it. And you currently live in Las Vegas, right?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. How long have you lived there?
I've been here since 2012. I did move back to Utah when I was divorced for 3 years.
Okay.
But I just moved here 4 years ago.
So. Okay. Found your way back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. Today, Elisa is going to share with us just her story of her married life and some of the things that happened. And we're just going to go ahead and dive in. So why don't you just start telling us about kind of your experience in getting married and some of the things that led up to some of the decisions you made, and just share with us. Go for it.
Yeah. Thank you. The reason why I reached out to you is because I really wanted to have people see a different perspective, just kind of like you said, and shine some light on why. Because most of the times I feel like people think they blame themselves and they forget that the other person, the one that broke the trust, has their own issues or their own thoughts behind their decisions. So I really wanted to focus on that. I was 18 and I was dating my husband. I became pregnant and decided, okay, let's make the most out of this. Let's get married. So here I was with a brand new baby, and she's barely married, and 18, a kid of my own. And that's how our relationship started. My husband is not a member of the church, so a lot of big differences. He's from another country. Everything was going against us, if you think about it. But we worked it out. We tried. We had another daughter 7 years later. But our whole marriage was mostly trying to work things out, getting to know ourselves, and just working through the differences. But I think the biggest thing for me, when things happen, when the infidelity happened, I was going to therapy. That's a funny thing, that I was going through counseling. I was doing everything I needed to do. I was doing the right thing. But yet I was so into being a mom and being a wife and being the perfect wife and doing everything right by the church standards. And I was so focused on that I was neglecting myself. So in my head, I wanted to find a way to feel something. I felt so numb by being a mom and that constant need from everybody, that I was numb to any emotions. So I went to the extremes, and I engaged into being with someone else, just to feel something. It had nothing to do with the person. It had nothing to do with my husband, because we were okay. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but we were okay. But it was just that I was searching for something that, to feel something. And my therapist called it a psychosis, a breakdown. And because that's kind of what you do when you are numb, you tend to go to the extremes without thinking. All you want is to feel something. And that's kind of what happened the first time. And when I woke up from this kind of haze, because that's how I described it, I realized what I had done. And my husband found out through looking at my texts, and it was devastating for him and for me. It's just because it was everything going against everything I grew up with. So I knew what I had done wrong. And I grew up with my parents teaching me that you either have to do everything right or you're a bad person. So here I was going against what I was taught. And I felt like such a bad person. I felt horrible, and I had to fix it. The first thought was let's fix it. I need to fix myself, fix the relationship. And I tried really hard to make sure that I was doing everything I could to gain his trust back. I was like, okay, you need to look at everything. You need to know whatever you need to know. I was pretty open because I knew he needed that in order to heal and gain trust. So we worked through that. And the amazing thing was that because of that experience, we were able to learn what love was. It's amazing. You would think that betrayal, it's the worst thing you can do. But because we use that to build our love and kind of build it from the beginning, from the ground up, because everything crumbled and we never had a really good foundation. This was our moment to build that and to start all over. And we learned what love was. We really fell in love with each other, and we really learned to trust each other and communicate. It was an amazing experience for me. I think it was beautiful. I can remember it was painful, but beautiful at the same time, because we both were open to heal, open to work things out, and be vulnerable with that. We worked things out, but years later, like 3 years later, I found myself back in the same cycle, like just numb. I was suffering from depression, severe depression.
Okay.
And we had lost our house. We were not in a good place. He had kind of like shut off from the relationship. And like he was just there, but not really there. So again, I was just trying my best, doing everything I could. And here I was trying to find some purpose, trying to fulfill myself in some way. And what did I know how to do best is attract men. That was something that I learned from my younger years, that how to get men's attention and how to get that. So I learned now through going to therapy and coaching that that's something that I do. I tend to go when I'm feeling powerless. I tend to go to men because I know how to be in control of the relationship, how to be in their control. So I learned that that's what I go to. But it's been years of me realizing that that's something that I generated back when I was like 11 years old. It clicked for me. And it was like a moment in that specific, I can't remember exactly what I was wearing actually when that clicked for me, but it wasn't until last year that I realized that's what I was doing. But anyway, here I was, and I found myself doing the same thing. And I didn't tell him right away. I thought this time around, I don't need to tell him. I'm going to just hide it. I'm over it. He doesn't need to know. I don't need to ruin the relationship. I'm going to deal with it myself. And I hid it for several months, and we moved. And I felt like, okay, if I want to do things right, I need to let him know what happened. And I did. And obviously his first reaction was anger, and I was really respectful over his emotions. That's one thing that I was like, okay, I get it. I didn't want to justify anything. I wanted to respect how he was feeling, and I gave him time and space. But the thing with that, the second time, it was that I remember that I felt like I'm always going to be a cheater. This is who I am. I adapted that. And I was like, okay, this is it for me, I guess. I will never heal. This is who I am. You know, I took on the always a cheat, once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I guess this is who I am. I can never be a faithful wife. And I guess that's what it'll be. A few years later, we got divorced, but it was due to something completely different. We were just too separate from each other. I wanted something different, and he was completely, we're just different people. We were married, we were divorced for 3 years, and we decided to try it again.
I love it.
The kids were struggling, and we're like, okay, let's try and work things out. And we did for 4 years. And that was last November. We were like going to counseling, therapy, and it wasn't working. We were back into the same patterns that got us divorced in the first place. And we're like, okay, we're just hurting each other. It's no use to be together. I remember I wrote down on my notes the day that I was going to therapy, and I was thinking of ways to just end the relationship and find like a different job, a different place to live. And that's when I heard your podcast. And my sister's like, my friend has a podcast. We need to support her. Just listen to her. She's awesome. And I remember you taught in one of them, you taught the model. And I was like, okay, I can be in charge of my own emotions. Oh, and that just opened up like a whole thing. And from there, it just led to me working on myself and what I wanted, taking care of my needs, and really looking inside. And it's just all led to just the relationship changing organically. And we got remarried in December.
That is awesome. Oh, so almost your 1 year anniversary.
Yes.
Again.
I know.
I love it. That is awesome. And how are things now?
They're great. They're amazing. It's just, I keep asking myself, is this real? Like, is this really happening? Because the level of just communication and love that we have is completely different. Because it's just, it all starts with me. And I always thought, hey, I've been going to therapy for so long. I'm good. I don't need the fixing. It's him, right? Like, that's what I was thinking. But, like, through coaching, I realized that I was not dealing with my emotions, not taking care of myself, my values. I didn't really know who I was. So through coaching, I realized that this is something that I'm always going to have to deal with, and it's going to come up. I know what triggers it,
Yep.
and I know how to fulfill my needs before I do anything, which is the key. And it's like, okay, if I'm feeling this, and if I'm having this thought, oh, it means I need to feel in control of myself, of my emotions. What do I need to do? How can I fulfill those needs within?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't go into other things. But it's been amazing.
That is amazing. 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 Okay. I have so many questions. As you're talking, I was furiously writing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to back up to earlier parts of your story, and I'm going to ask you some things because I think it'll be really helpful for people to hear. Okay. So one of the things you said is that you kind of felt like you were in a haze, and that when he found out is when you kind of came out of the haze. Yes. And I hear this a lot, kind of like you're in this little bubble and like it's separate, like totally compartmentalized, right?
Yes.
And then suddenly it's like, oh, these things actually are clashing or whatever. Tell us.
Oh, they have a consequence.
Yes.
Oh, it's not just that I'm like, it's not right now. It has a consequence, and now I have to deal with it. It's like reality hits, and it's like, because when you're in this haze, you don't see everything. You kind of have like selective vision, and all your focus in is just yourself and fulfilling that need that is being unmet, or like that. That's what all you're focusing on. How can I get this fixed? Like, how, that's really all you're focusing on. I wasn't thinking of my kids. I wasn't thinking of anything other than that need. Yeah.
Okay. And then when he found out by looking through, saw some things on your phone, then what happened for you?
It was like all I can think about is like a cold, like tub, like a cold like thing, pail of water dumped on me. Like, pretty much that kind of wakes you up. That's how it felt. Like, I was like, oh, okay, what is going on? What did I do? What just happened? And I'm like the person that's always trying to fix things. I kind of have like a little bit of the man mentality. Like, if there's a problem, I have to fix it. So that's what I did. I was like, okay, there's a problem. I need to fix it. What do I need to fix it? And I just did whatever needed to be like done to fix it and try to make things better.
Okay. So one of the things you said that I think is really important to point out is how you went in wanting to fix it. You were open and willing to fix it. And you said that it wasn't until not long ago that you realized why you made the choices in the first place. I think that's so important because so much of the time, my clients, they want to understand why, and they understand like why their spouses or partners have made some of the choices they have. And they're kind of trying to guess and often take it personally, like it's them, right? And you're telling us that you didn't know. Like, I don't understand it myself, right? And it happened again. And then after that is when you realized, oh, it's a control thing.
Yeah.
It's this desperate need, like a power grab, right? This desperate need to feel some kind of power and authority over your life. And that's how you learned it as a young girl, right?
Yes. It was amazing because it just clicked for me. My brain took me there. Whereas years ago, I mean, I've been going to therapy since I was 15, and I had this, it never came to me until last year, where I was like, oh, this is why. It was that moment. And it was something so silly. Like, a boy said something about the way I looked, and I took it and grabbed with it. My brain was like, oh, click. And it's just, and that's what I always did. Like my whole life, I used that. And it's just funny because now I know it wasn't until I realized where it was coming from that I could fix it, that I had the control, that I didn't have to be this person. And that, it might always be there for me. That's always something that might always come to me. And it's something that I have to deal with. But I know how to help myself. I don't need to go out and do anything and get it from anyone else. I can help myself through coaching. And I mean, but it's amazing how your brain hides these little things that you have no idea. And sometimes they don't even never come out to light. Sometimes you may never know where it came from. But for me, I'm lucky that it did come up and now I know. But like you said, some people might not even know why they do it. It's something that they need to deal with their whole lives.
Well, if you think about it, with many of the things that we do, we can work really hard to overcome them, whether it's like alcohol issues or overeating or undereating or compulsive shopping or compulsive anything, like any of those things, right? The goal isn't to just be rid of all things that are hard for us, right? Exactly. That's not the goal. The goal is to have the awareness to recognize yourself, to recognize and go, oh, I'm feeling, this feels familiar. Okay, I know this. And then knowing and having the tools to help yourself, right? Instead of just taking the bait and doing what you do, like not you specifically, right? But whatever it is for each individual, whatever that pull is to feel control, or sometimes it is to numb out, right? Sometimes it is to numb out, to not feel things. We do things for different reasons. For you wanted to feel something. You felt numb and you wanted to feel something. Yeah. And go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I agree. It comes down to, there's so many things, not just in this instance, but we use food, we use shopping, we use all these things to numb ourselves. And it's finding what, it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't. I thought it did define me, and I'm glad my husband didn't think that either. He saw ahead of that, like he didn't use this to define me, even though I was. But I'm glad that he didn't, and I'm glad that I was able to heal from it and learn. I mean, it's I can't believe, now I'm here where I can say I know what triggers it and I know how to catch it. Getting yourself to that place is so empowering, because you have all the control. You're no longer under the control of a substance, of something else, something outside of you. You are in control, and you can avoid so much pain and suffering by just being in control and knowing what you are triggered by, or where it comes from, or how it's triggered.
That is so powerful. So powerful. I love that you pointed out that initially you were looking for some kind of control, right? And then it's fake, right? It's this facade. And now you realize I had the control all along. Like I just didn't know. I didn't know how to access it. I didn't know I had it in me. And now you know, and it's so much more empowering, right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
It's so much more empowering.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Like you're making choices because you want to, right?
Yes. It's that. It's just, I want to, because I have to daily. It's a daily thing. I have to recommit myself daily. Sure. This is what I want. This is the type of relationship I want. This is the marriage I want. This is who I want to be. It's a daily thing that I have to recommit to. It's not just, once and done. No, it's daily.
Because our brains are tricky buggers, and we'll be like, oh, look over there. Like this feels hard today. Let's go do this over here. And I love that you mentioned that it is a daily choice. But what I'm hearing that is different from, back when you're 18 years old and got married, is that at that time, it seems like you kind of felt like, well, I guess we're doing this. I guess this is what we're going to do, to now actively choosing it. You both are actively choosing to be all in with each other, being engaged, doing the work. And I love it. That's so amazing.
Yes.
So a couple questions. One question I have for you is, you said that you felt like a bad person, that you were raised to think that, making mistakes, things like that, that you're a bad person. How did you overcome that?
Oh my gosh, I think I still have to, that's a daily thing because I grew up with that mentality, but it's lesser and lesser every time. I think for me now, it's just to know that we don't need to be perfect and it's okay to make mistakes. We are bound to make mistakes. Yes, some are more serious than others. Yes, some have bigger consequences than others. But knowing that there's always a way out, whatever that may be, there's always a way out. It's not the end of whatever your life. There's still something that you can look forward to. I think that is the biggest thing I've learned, and that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. It's just because you're not perfect doesn't mean you don't deserve the love, doesn't mean you don't deserve forgiveness, doesn't mean you don't deserve to be blessed. That is erroneous. Like it's not how God wants us to see ourselves at all.
I love that. We are not our mistakes, right? We make choices, we do things that we wish we didn't do, but they are not our identity. There's something we chose, and then we get to choose what to do with it, right? And you said that it's something that pops up frequently. And I think that's really important to talk about as well, because I think we have this false notion that the more we work with our brains and do this work and really craft how we're going to think, what we believe about ourselves, that all negative thoughts and feelings will just go away. And that is just, if you've been listening to my podcast a while, listeners, that that's not what I teach. It's more knowing how to manage those when they come. You don't just buy into them. You don't believe them. You're like, oh, there you are again. Hello. Right? Like, Of course you're back. Like, of course, because it's like this false sense of safety that you need to pay attention and look over here. And when you can, it starts to lose its grip, right? It's like,
exactly,
there you are again. Like the same person that comes and knocks on your door every day and says there's some crisis, and you believe it at first. And then it kind of becomes like the boy who cried wolf, right? Like, you know what? I'm not listening today. I knew you would show up, but today we're going to do this instead. Has that kind of been your experience with it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. And sometimes I entertain it longer than it should.
Yep.
And then I have to catch myself. Oh, that's what I've been doing. Oh, okay. Let's not do that anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, it's always there. Yeah. And especially if depending where you're coming from, like the background, how you grew up with, like that all has to do with how strong that belief is and how persistent it'll be.
Right. How loudly it keeps showing up, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Next question. A question I get a lot, sometimes through people will send me things in email or Instagram or things like that. And they want to know that people can truly be happy again, that they can truly be happy. And I tell them, yes, you can. Like, you can be happier than you ever were before. It can be so much better than it ever was before. And you are living it. You're living it. And so I'd love for you to share all the things about how that is true.
Oh my gosh. And I love that because it gives you a perspective to actually learn from the mistakes. It allows you to make your relationship that much stronger. I think that's where people, if you do not give that opportunity, you might miss out on that. But whatever the decision you choose, it's up to you. But I think about what I would be missing on right now had we not kept trying. It's just, I can't think of it, because who I am today is because of everything all of my decisions, whatever they were. And I would not change them for anything, because they made me who I am today. And it has turned this marriage into this amazing marriage that we have. And our families is amazing because of it. So I would do it all over again. And because it's so worth it. So worth it.
That's so awesome to hear. It's so awesome to hear. I love it. I think that people have a hard time believing it, like that it's possible. And of course it is, right? Of course it's possible.
Yes.
And does it take work? Yes. Does it take self-examination? Yes. All the things, right? But those are the very ingredients that make up a whole healthy relationship with yourself and with another person, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So a question I want to ask you is, what would you say to my listeners who have had partners who have been unfaithful in various ways, who would like to have more open discussions with their spouses and invite their spouses to do more work around why, understanding themselves, some of that confronting and looking at themselves? What advice would you give them?
They have to want to do it, first of all.
Yep.
We can't force anyone. I think the first thing, if you're coming from a place of love and just being vulnerable together, I think that allows the other person to want to be vulnerable and love themselves. Because remember, most of the time, they're probably going to be hard on themselves as well. If they're really sorry and they're really want to make things better, they're being really hard on themselves. I remember I was really punishing myself on the inside. So if you're coming from a place of love, of let's try to make things better for us. Let's make this an experience where we can learn from each other, learn why this is happening. Where is it coming from? Where are the triggers that you're getting? So we can find a way. So you can find a way. Ultimately, it's up to the person, but they need to find a way to why it's happening and how they can avoid it. How can they be in control and not let that control them, where it's too late, to the point that where it's too late. So I would think coming from a place of love would be the best thing. And I know that might be hard, especially when things are raw. I know that that's hard, but it will make a huge difference. It really does. Coming from that place, I love you and I want this to work. I think that would be the key.
I love it. Yeah, I think that your the words and experience that you're sharing in this podcast episode will really help my clients and listeners, give them some of the language that they can use for some of the conversations. And I think that we underestimate the influence that we can have with our spouses by showing up powerfully to them, right? Instead of just wanting them to go change so that we can feel better. I talk a lot about extending an invitation to growth, reaching out our hand and inviting and saying, hey, we're on the same team. And how can we work on this together? And then using some of the language that you have talked about with control, with needing to feel like these different things like this, to do a little digging and invite our spouses to open up and look at themselves a little bit more in a loving container.
Yes.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
That's beautiful. Okay. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here, but I wanted to say thank you so much. And I want to know if there's any last words of wisdom or encouragement or anything that you would like to share with my listeners today.
Yes, this can be such an amazing experience if you allow it to be. It can strengthen your marriage like it has never done before. And you can really have a true love story if you can both succeed, if you can both work together to overcome this. It can be the most amazing healing experience, and it will change your life forever if you can overcome it together. Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And tell me this, how can my listeners learn more from you?
They can reach me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Elisa_Fucci_, or they can email me at Elisa Fucci, ELISA.coaching@gmail.com. And I'll be glad to help them.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. That was, I can't wait to put this out there. I know it will help so many people, to give them insight, to help them understand a little bit better. And I appreciate your vulnerability so much in sharing your own story and all the things that you've learned. And something that I say a lot is that these kinds of trials, whatever spot we find ourselves in, the one that is on the other end of it or the one in it, right? The one making the choices, all of these things have the potential to be launch pads for incredible, incredible growth, incredible lives, right? And that sometimes it takes coming to a crisis point to make decisions, to really make the decisions to go for it and go all in. And you're being an example of what that looks like. So thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. I loved it. It was awesome. Thank you for letting me share this.
You bet. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.